What a weekend. You know, we had Flag Day yesterday, and then we have Father's Day and the feast, the solemnity of the Most Holy Trinity. And I thought it was very important to fly my flag yesterday. And I was telling Father Frankie, hey, it's Flag Day. And, I was saying, I've seen it before in the history of the United States of America, people burning flags, but it's especially disturbing to see this in most recent times. And it's like, no, we need to raise the flag and affirm the respect for it and for the United States of America. And he said, well, what is Flag Day? And I said, I don't know. So I looked it up, and it's the selection of the flag in 1777 after the declaration of our independence and the choosing of the stars and stripes to be on that flag to represent the United States of America. So it's important in our history and important for me to know that, and I sent that information to Father Frankie, and now he knows. Trinity Sunday and Father's Day. I want to speak about both, the Most Holy Trinity and about Dad. What is the Trinity? Now, this question was posed during the movie called Bernadette with Sidney Penny starring as Saint Bernadette. She did a phenomenal job, and in the second movie, The Passion of Bernadette, I was really surprised to find out that this young actress learned French to star in this second movie, the sequel, the Passion and the Suffering and the Death of Saint Bernadette. She died a very young woman. But in this first movie, the priest is there with children in a class of catechesis, and he asks the group, what is the Trinity? And a boy stands up and he says the Father, and then someone else stands up, the Son, and someone else stands up and says the Holy Spirit, and he's giving them holy cards as they answer correctly. And then he said, how many people are in the Blessed Trinity? And they said 3. And he's like, ugh, and he takes the holy cards away from them. What is the Trinity? I remember Father Marcel of happy memory. If you've never met him or you don't even know who he is, his picture is up at the entryway of our Adoration Chapel. Father Marcel Salinas from Spain. I remember he was asked in a group, he was told in a group, Father, I don't understand the Trinity. And he said in his Spanish accent, if you understand it, you would be part of it. We will spend eternity gazing and marveling at the Blessed Trinity, something that's incomprehensible. The Father is not the Son, and the Son is not the Father, and the Father and the Son is not the Holy Spirit. 3 distinct persons in this unity. And I was taught that there is no other distinction within the Blessed Trinity. The Father is not the Son is not the Father, the Spirit is not Son or Father. The word Trinity comes from the Latin trinitas, a word that was invented by Tertullian, church father from way back in the early church. Trinitas means 3, and then unitas at the second part of the word, meaning unity of the 3. The Father, as Bishop Barron says, is the lover. The Son is the beloved, and the bond of love between the two is the Holy Spirit. How can the Holy Spirit be another person? How can love be another person, I should say? Well, in the human marriage, husband loves wife, wife loves husband. That bond of love sometimes has to be given a name 9 months later. That bond of love becomes another person. We hear today in Paul's proclamation that the love of God has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit that has been given to us. The love of God has been poured out into our hearts. And if the love of God has been poured out into our hearts, why do so many people feel unloved? So many people. I mean, I have encountered them both inside and outside the church, feeling unloved by God and even by the rest of humanity. How is that? I remember sitting with a priest in a group, a wonderful priest, holy priest. I mean, when I wouldn't do it, but during the sign of peace, he kisses the side of the rim of the chalice. The peace of the Lord be with you always. Let us offer each other the sign of peace. He kisses the rim of the chalice because he knows that Jesus is present, body, blood, soul, and divinity in that precious chalice. And he gives a little kiss. And I remember sitting with him in group, and he was in a difficult place. He's same age as me, both born and raised in Arizona. And he said, I feel unlovable. And I'm like, wow, Father, really? Really? And I said to him what I say to you when you feel this. I feel unloved by God, or I feel unloved by, just unloved. Is there any evidence against this thought? And I asked Father that. Is there any evidence against what you're telling us right now? He looked inside and he said, well, there are people that love me dearly. And it's like, so maybe this is a distortion in your thinking. Is there any evidence against this? Now I'll speak a little bit about my dad. My dad, when he was drinking, could not say to my mom, could not say to us kids, a simple expression, I love you. Begrudgingly, he held that for whatever reason to himself. My mom used to complain to him and say, Alan, you never say I love you. And he would respond with a really stupid comment. Well, if actions don't speak louder than words, and it's like, Dad, your actions are that you're drunk and you're cheap and you complain and you prophesy about the doom of the world financially. That's what your actions say to us. And this was his personality in his drinking. Underneath that was the true Alan Greb. And it began to emerge when he got sober. And he did get sober, and healing came into the family. This isn't the case for everybody. I just talked to someone this morning whose father never got sober, died young. When he got sober, those words, I love you, were said farther on in his sobriety, but he never parted from us, or he never put down the phone, hung up the phone without saying, I love you. And when he would write a little note, he would write, love each day. Love each day. I don't know exactly what happened, but I know this is a product of sobriety and looking inward and looking outward and seeing our own shortcomings. And why do we begrudge those words on people that we do dearly love? I remember years ago in his early sobriety, it's like, okay, he's changed. There's many things that are different in his life, but he's still not saying this. And I'm not going to say it first. I remember saying it to my other family members, my mother and my sisters and my brother. And we do a little abbreviated one. Maybe you do this too. Love you. Not going to say it. And I don't remember if it was, now I remember, it was in Texas. My brother-in-law, who had divorced my sister divorced him. We didn't want to divorce him. We're like, can you keep my sister and we keep you? We loved him. And he was dying, most likely because of his use from amphetamines as a truck driver to stay awake. Young man, 41 years old. Dad flew out there. My brother and I went out there first, and Dad followed days later. And I'm pretty sure he paid for the cremation and other kinds of expenses. And we were about to part, and Rusty, my brother-in-law, had yet to pass. My brother and I were coming home, and I said, without even really thinking, as I parted from my father, I love you. After that point, it was just, he could say that whenever we parted or hung up the phone. The last words on his lips as he was dying, I love you. He looked up. He picked his head up from the pillow. He looked up. He saw something that we couldn't see. And then his gaze moved down to us as he looked about the room, and he was mouthing these words. He couldn't speak. He had been intubated, and then they took the tube out. And he was mouthing something, and my mom, she's like, Alan, are you saying I love you? And he's like shaking his head, yes. We're all crying. And she like, well, I love you too. Last words on his lips, this man that could not say this in his active alcoholism for whatever reason, those were the last words he said. Are these the most important words? Could be. What keeps us from saying this to others, people in our lives that we love? Perhaps we say it all the time. Perhaps we're like, we don't do this. So I have a classmate, and I don't know if things have changed for him. We've lost touch with each other. He doesn't respond to texts, and it's like, okay, whatever, dude. We're both priests in busy parishes. He's in Chicago. He's from Tanzania originally. And I remember when his mother came out for our diaconate ordination, and she did not speak English. She wore traditional African garb, and I could see she was a very humble woman. And I said to him, and kind of in private, I'm like, Avitus, have you ever told your mother you love her? He's like, whoa, we don't do that in my culture. And I'm like, you take a step out in faith, dude. Tell your mom you love her before it's too late. She's not always going to be with you. Oh, we don't do that. Another friend, my best friend in the whole world, Father David. He's from the Azores Islands, from San Miguel, if I'm not mistaken. And he immigrated with his family to Northern California in the 70s, early 70s, if I remember correctly. And we became close friends from day one when we went into the seminary together. And I have in the past said, David, I love you. And he just looks at me like I'm from Mars. And again, we don't do that in my family. And it's like, I don't keep saying it to him because it makes him uncomfortable. It's like, dude, you just need to know this. You just need to know this. If you pass from this world, or if I pass from this world, no question in your mind. But it reminds me of a song that I really came to love about 11, 12 years before I met Father David. It was from John Cougar Mellencamp. The song was called "Check It Out," and one of the parts of some words from the song, it speaks of living life as it unfolds, and so it goes like this: going to work on Monday, got yourself a family, all utility bills have been paid. You can't tell your best buddy that you love him. And it's like, why not? Why not? And if you're worried, right? If you have a best buddy and just like, dude, like a brother, just preface it like that, like a brother. I love you like a brother, And then, it may lighten the load as far as being uncomfortable. Like a brother, man, I love you. Have you told someone today that you love him or her? The love of God has been poured out into our hearts. But what keeps us from saying this? What keeps us from feeling this? Maybe we didn't hear this growing up as I experienced. Maybe our distorted thinking keeps us from feeling this or believing the reality of this. Maybe there's self-loathing. So many of us battle this. As we experience this and we feel that maybe we are unloved, ask ourselves again, what is the evidence against this thought? You are loved. We are loved. I am loved. It's a reality. The love of the triune God, Father, Son, and Spirit, has been poured out into our hearts. So share that love in many ways, but also by saying it to others. I, as one of the spiritual fathers working in this community, love you.